I just wanted to take a few moments to point out a few things about your Lab 5.1.3.6 Viewing Network Device MAC addresses. Your instructions tell you to set up the equipment to match the network topology. This is the network topology. You need to keep in mind that this is your addressing table. You'll refer back to it. With the NetLabs, you do not set your equipment up. It's already been cabled for you and it already exists. Keep in mind when you're working on the labs that our routers are the 1861 routers. They do not have a gigabit interface. All our interfaces on our routers are fast Ethernet. So in your instructions, anytime it references the gigabit Ethernet port, you need to change that in your commands to fast Ethernet. So for this particular lab, part 1 has already been completed for you. You will begin at part 2. You will assign static IP addresses to PCA. You will configure basic information on router 1. You will assign a static IP address to router 1, and then you will verify your network connectivity. Part 3 you will also complete. This is where you will analyze the MAC address for PCA. Also for router 1, then you'll display the MAC address table on switch 1. So we'll scroll down to part 2. I want to make sure you understand how to set up your IP addresses on your PC and how to access your router. So it tells me to configure the IPv4 address, subnet mask, and default gateway address for PCA. You will find that here in your addressing table. Within NetLabs, I'm going to click on PCA. I'm running mine in Firefox. So I'm going to click here at OK where it says to open. Then I will tell it to run. Then I have PCA is now up on my screen. There's several ways that you can change your IP address and your network setting. The way I prefer to do it is I come down here to your lower right corner on your taskbar and you'll see the icon for the network. You can click on it and click Open Network and Sharing Center. Here is your unidentified network, and you'll see here we have a local area connection. I'm going to select it. I'll go to Properties. It's telling me I need to do IPv4, so I'm going to click here at IPv4 and Properties. Right now it is set up to obtain an IP address automatically, and I want to assign it one, so I'm going to click Use the following IP address. Based on my addressing table from my lab, my IP address is 192.168.1.3. My subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and my default gateway is 192.168.1.1. I'll click OK. I will close that, and I'll close that screen, and you'll notice that it is identifying the network. The next step in this lab tells us to ping the default gateway address on router 1 from PCA command prompt. In order to get there, let me move my screen so you can see it. I'm going to click here on Start. You can type in CMD and hit enter. That will take you to the command prompt. You will ping the default gateway. Our default gateway is 192.168.1.1 and hit enter. The question is it reachable? Why or why not? Our next step, after you answer that question, is you will go in and you're going to configure the router. The instructions tell you to console in. However, on the NetLab system, you do not console in, you simply click on the device that we're needing to go into. I'm going to click on router 1 and open it and run it. This brings me to the command line of my router. It tells me to enter the global configuration mode. So I'm going to enable. I'm going to do config T. It tells me to assign a host name to the router based on the addressing table, disable DNS lookup, and configure and enable the gigabit 01 interface. Now keep in mind, in NetLabs we need to configure the fast Ethernet, so that will be FA01. After you have configured the router, it tells you to go back to PCA and try pinging your gateway again. And it wants to know if it's reachable this time. Continue through the lab. If you need to reach the switch, you will also just simply click on the switch, open it up, and you will be able to get to the switch and key the commands in from there. I hope this helps get you started on this particular lab, and this is how you will proceed with the other labs in this unit.